Okay, so Old Love transitions into Wonderful Tonight, which is the last of the 9-piece band. Wonderful Tonight is, I would say, even more delicate than Old Love. Old Love is very delicate in the verses. It's very light, very airy. And Old Love, again, it has that more dramatic feel to it, especially in the choruses. But Wonderful Tonight has this much lighter feel than Old Love. And it's gorgeous, I would say. There's a really good feature by Ray Cooper playing chimes. It just adds this prettiness, and it sounds great. Obviously, the mix is great. So definitely hats off to Alex Haas and Russ Titleman, the mixer and producer. The backing vocals on Wonderful Tonight are really good. They're very mellow, very restrained. And it allows Eric's voice to shine on top of it. And Eric's not even singing with that much energy on this. I want to mention how this version of the song is a much slower tempo than the version from Slowhand, like much slower. And for a drummer to be playing that slow, I would say is difficult, but Steve Ferroni is a master and he can play at any tempo. And he's completely locked in with Ray Cooper, hitting the tambourine. And their work together, the way that they mesh is so great. I want to demonstrate one quick thing that they do in the second verse. They sing, "We go to a party and everyone turns to see." Eric does a little variation here. Instead of doing, the main chord changes are from G, D to C. So back to D. But in this second verse, they go, "We go to a party and everyone turns to see." Here's the change. "This beautiful lady." There's the change right there. So instead of going from a G chord to a D chord, as they do for the whole song, they do a variation of G to B minor. "This beautiful lady." There's the change right there. That change is unexpected, but it sounds really, really good. And I'm really happy that they give this different color to this song just by adding that one chord right there. "This beautiful lady that's walking around with me." So definitely look out for that the next time you listen to it in the second verse. It's a really nice change that they added. At the end of the main song, Eric says, "I feel wonderful." And then he has this a cappella where he sings "Tonight," but he sustains it and it's just him singing. And that is a very scary thing for a singer to do, to sing a cappella in a hall in front of thousands of people. But Eric was deep in the song and he's not nervous. He was very confident. And it leads the band into this 2-chord vamp over the chords C and D. Those chords sound like, and then eventually, after a couple of iterations of those chords, Katie Kassoon, the backing vocalist, starts scat singing over these 2 chords. And eventually she works her way up into a climax where the band comes back in. And Eric has a guitar solo where he comes in and the band is playing at full force. And at one point, the band backs off and they cut the energy back down. And Eric goes back into the riff. Doom, doo, doo. What happens when Eric's doing that riff is his backing guitarist, Phil Palmer, is doing what we call volume swells, which is when you have your guitar volume or whatever you're playing, you have your volume pretty much off, and you play the note or chord, and then you raise the volume on your instrument. So you go from nothing to something. And at the very end of the song, Phil Palmer, the backup guitarist, is harmonizing with Eric, doing these volume swells. And I don't know if he intended on doing that before, or if he did that in other versions, or if he was improvising that. But who would think to do a volume swell to harmonize? It's just a very different textural thing that's happening at the end of the song. And the only other person that I would think of that would do that is like a Jeff Beck type of person.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, can I just jump in? I want to ask you, is he using a volume pedal for those swells, or is he using his tone control? Oh, his volume control on his guitar.
I don't know. I don't know if Phil Palmer is using a volume pedal or
gotta be a pedal. Gotta be a pedal.
I have noticed that and I've overlooked it, but now that you've brought this up, I'm going to be paying close attention.
Yeah, it's when Eric's doing the end riff. It's very quiet, and they're all just like... And then they kind of hold on that last note.
Yeah.
And then Eric...
Gotta be a volume pedal.
Yeah. And then Eric does that... Just orchestral.
Yeah.
Who plays like that? He's dancing. He's a genius. Who plays like that?
That's why we're here, still analyzing this all these years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitive version for me, 10 out of 10. Wonderful tonight. Brad?
Yeah, I'm going to go back and re-listen to a lot of that now. And thanks for bringing that up. I have noticed it, Michael, but I've never really analyzed it in that way. So thanks for bringing that up, because I'm going to go back and listen to it in a different sense now. And I'm going to be trying to listen to what Phil's doing there. Is he using a volume pedal? Yeah. That's amazing. But I love his vocal delivery in this song. I love how it's a slower tempo. I actually love the Slowhand version. I'm in love with the song. It's a great song. But I love this version of it too. Again, another showcase of Eric's voice. He sings so delicately. He's got a wonderful way of pushing his voice where it needs to be, and he gets that gritty bluesy thing going. But he also sings so delicately, and I think you mentioned before, Michael, he's pitch perfect all the time. He never really wavers from being off, even when he's using vibrato in his voice. It's perfect. So if a lot of the musicians in the chat or anyone watching this later, I'm sure you're familiar with performing live and how difficult it is to play a quiet, mellow song and perform it and give it what it deserves. And Eric and his band in this performance, they're doing that. They're delivering it in a way where they're capturing the vibe of the song. It's very hard, in my opinion. It's easier to play a loud, in-your-face song than it is a delicate song. That's just my opinion. And I love the way they perform this song. And I gave it a 10 out of 10. Andrew?
Wow. You guys are amazing. Look, this version of the song is so much better than the drunken versions that he's done, previous to 24 Nights. And it's a credit, to Eric realizing that when he performs live and he's been recorded live, that he can take it up 10 steps further, and you know, his state of mind and where he was at around this time is crucial, I think, to the success of this DVD and the album, and consequently his career beyond this period. That, look, I agree with, I think Michael said it's the definitive version. I think it's beautiful. It's beautiful after you've been on this roller coaster ride, as I've mentioned earlier, with the three other songs, and then you're coming down. And if you're lucky enough, if you guys have ever been lucky enough to be drunk and been able to sing this song to a blonde-haired girlfriend or partner, you know, you've been pretty lucky. I can recommend not singing this song to a girl who doesn't have blonde hair. Okay? It'll backfire.
Brown or black. It's the same.
Yeah, yeah. It'll backfire on you. Trust me. Doesn't work.
Speaking from experience, speaking from experience.
Yeah, doesn't work, guys. Yeah, look, I love the song too. It's 10 out of 10 for me. I can't add any more to the analysis other than, you know, what Michael and Brad have said. It's it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, beautiful performance, beautiful song, amazingly captured. Earlier in Wonderful Tonight, I mentioned that they have that little variation. This beautiful lady. There's that B minor variation. Instead of G to D to C, they go from G to B minor, which sounds so great at that one instance. But at the very end of the song, when Eric gets his second solo, the outro solo after Katie Kassoon's gorgeous scat singing, her solo, what happens is the band is actually playing a B chord again. So they go, dun, 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 dun. Again, this is a change too. This is not how the song goes. This is a change that they added, which sounds so great. This is a C chord over a D in the bass, which creates this tension. So and they take it down in energy there. And then Eric on the last part. Who thinks to arrange a song like that? Who breathes this new life into a song that's at that time 24 years old? When did Slowhand come out? 77, 76? So that's something that Clapton has always done. He's breathed new life into these songs and made it interesting for himself and made it interesting for us. And either he does that by changing the arrangement, having different musicians in his band, or a combination of both. And it just makes it continuously interesting for us and allows us to have so many different favorite versions.
Do you think, I'll jump in and I'll say, do you think it's Clapton being selfish and wanting to evolve the song to a current state to where he's at the time? Or do you think it's to, you know, enhance the song just because he feels that it's dated? Like, kind of like what I said just previous anyway, but I don't know. I think it's more of a selfish thing. He wants to just enhance the song to where he's at, current state of mind, rather than try and present it a different way. You know, maybe he's presenting it a different way for his fans, but I think it's more of a selfish thing. He just feels like the song needed developing. And I think that's an important thing that you've touched on there, Michael, that, you know, he's presented it in a different arrangement in a different way for the night, which worked beautifully, absolutely beautifully. But I'll throw that out there. Do you guys think it's a selfish thing that he's doing it and redeveloping the song in a way to suit the current state that he's in?
Andrew?
Because we know that,
Yeah,
that every time he plays the song, you know, he's you've spoken about some drunken performances there, Andrew, you know.
Yeah. I think he's certainly the reason why I like this album is because it's a beginning of a new chapter, and obviously in his life. So sobriety was really important to him, and in his biography he talks about it, and you know, the clarity, and you know, he's seen things differently. The clouds are different, the sky's different. He's hearing music differently. So yeah, look, I think he's doing a lot of this stuff because of himself first and foremost. You know, he wants to hear, you know, obviously songs that are really important that have made him a lot of money. Let's not forget that, you know, the guy's got 10 Ferraris, you know, and you know, he's got that because people have been buying records. So he's got to make sure that if you're paying $200 to go and see a gig, you're going to hear something. But you know, the thing about this DVD that Michael and yourself have gone through, bro, is that you know, it's some of the songs are remarkably different from the recorded versions, and you know, some songs aren't. So yeah, it's what is it? It's just been part of that creative journey, isn't it?
I think a lot of it comes down to his band he's performing with as well. I think he feels that, you know, the band he's performing with allows him to redevelop and recreate this epic songs that he's done and turn them into what's relevant to him at the time, maybe. So selfishly, and probably influenced heavily by the musicians he's performing with. So that's my take on it.
Mark calls it sharing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love what he did with that.
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe deviated a little bit away from the content of what we're doing here, but I still think it was relevant, you know.
Yeah, no, that was great. Which brings us to the Orchestra Nights, the final arrangement of the 24 Nights series. The Orchestra Nights featured conductor